Hey, 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 everybody. Come on in, come on in. It is time for Sip and Chat. And baby, I have a fantastic guest with me tonight. Listen, I'm just excited to have her. Well, I have her all the time, but I'm excited to share her with you tonight. And that is none other than Miss Donna Hopkins. Woo!
Hey everybody! I'm so excited that you invited me into the sip and chat room.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's just a blessing to be able to be here with you today and just kind of like chat about real life things.
Hello? Yes. So, you know what we got to talk about first. What are you sipping on tonight?
Well, let me just say this. I have my favorite cup, D for Donna, and I'm just doing a little water. Sometimes I do a little green tea with a little lemon and honey in it because I'm telling you, the allergy season right now is killing
Horrific.
me. So
Yeah.
my throat has to stay lubricated because of that drainage. So I'm sipping always on something.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand. So I'm joining you with water tonight, trying to stay hydrated.
I
Look,
like the mason jar.
I was about to say I went old school. I knew you appreciate the old school. The mason jars took us on back to our roots, right?
Definitely.
But I have found that green tea has been my favorite, especially like you said during allergy season because it just kind of keeps everything warm and feeling cozy and stuff. But I'm excited to have you. So for those of you who don't know, she is one of my favorite people because you may not know this is my auntie. So I know her as Auntie Donna. And for years, I have been by her side, just working with her on her foundation and on her initiatives. You could kind of say until I got married and had a family, we went everywhere together, just about. So I invited my auntie. I thought it would be such a pleasure to have her tonight for us to talk because she has one amazing story. She's probably going to cry tonight, and that's okay, because it's tears of good joy. That's okay. But you ain't got to admit it. I watch y'all. I can see them tears fall. You gonna see the tears fall. But she has a phenomenal story, and I thought that it was so fitting at a time when people are really struggling with their circumstances and with all that's going on. Some people have the comeback story where they may have gotten COVID and they've recovered and they're able to tell the story, and then some don't have that. But I thought that you would be a great person to just come on and share your story of perseverance. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have learned to stop telling y'all what we're gonna talk about in Sip and Chat because every time we come on here, it's like the conversation goes somewhere else. And I'm totally okay with that because I know that the story, or not even the story, but the conversation shifted to information that will be beneficial to my viewers. So tonight, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I know what I said, that we're going to talk about her story, but let me tell you, we'll see where it goes. We got about 20 minutes. And if we go over, that's okay. That meant you needed it tonight, right? Look at you.
Right.
You already ready to cry. So my Auntie Donna is a 2-time breast cancer survivor. She is an amputee, not because she served in the military or she had diabetes and ended up having to lose her limb or any other reason. It was simply she went in for one thing and she came out, 2 months later?
2.5 months later.
2.5 months later, alive, but missing part of her limb, right? And you know what I thought about Donna? I call her Donna. Let me correct myself, Donna.
I have so many names.
Look, I'm not gonna give my family name to y'all. But what I thought about was it's 10 years. This is like 10 years. This literally happened 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, 10 years this month.
Yeah. And when I thought about it, I was like, wow, she's coming, we're doing the sipper chat, but it didn't even dawn on me that it is now like the 10-year anniversary since that happened. And oh my goodness, what a roller coaster.
What a roller coaster is the word. I mean, when I thought about coming up on the 10 years and like you said, the breast cancer, 2-time breast cancer survivor in 1997, just came out of nowhere at the age of 36. And if anybody knows me, they know that I'm the most competitive person ever in the world, even against little kids. I hate to lose at anything in life.
Oh my goodness, yes.
To get breast cancer, where being an athlete all of my life, living a healthy lifestyle most of my life, pretty much all of my life, and to come up with breast cancer out of a family. My mom had maybe, I think it's 18 or 19 siblings. I lose count of that. But to have one aunt on my mom's side that got breast cancer and some cousins on my dad's side, I would never have thought that I would have been the one who ended up getting breast cancer. But the thing about breast cancer is that it knows no names. Anybody could get breast cancer. I mean, right. You don't have to have a family history per se. It could be the fact that you got it. And then I have, it's 10 of us siblings, and I'm number 8 in the family. And the only one that had got breast cancer. But sometimes I say to God is that you allow some things to be your assignment in life.
Right.
Reasons bigger than what we even can foresee.
Right.
On the line. And God never meant that for your demise or that you would die from that. But that just was an assignment that you had to go through. And sometimes we look at things that we have to go through, and it's not so much that it was for you to go through it, but for the people that was on looking for you to go through it. Because, I always say that we always tell God that we believe that you are a healer. We believe that you are a provider. But do you believe those things when it comes to your house?
Right.
To stand up on the word that you preach to people over and over, that God would bring you through in the most difficult times in your life. Mm-hmm. Time you may have to go through multiple times, but can you really stand on those things when it comes to your house? And I found myself having to stand in 1997 on those words, pulling from sermons that I had heard years ago, and did not realize that it would come to the point where I would have to go back and understand that when I heard that word, because it was a word that think not that it's strange that these things may happen to you, but God for you to be able to bear to get through it. And I had to stand on sermons after sermons and eat those words that I had preached to people to get through in 1997. But then again in 1999, here it comes again, breast cancer. I thought that, that I had taken a hit for the kingdom, and to come up 2 years later having breast cancer again. And the first time I tell people that I wasn't able to tell my mom that I was going through breast cancer because she was going through a health issue herself.
Right.
So I told a few people, and I laughed because I didn't tell all my siblings because I said they can't hold water.
I was about to say, you didn't. You kept that thing to yourself. And it was like when everybody found out, it was like, she had what?
And I had pretty much came through it the first time because I knew that I was standing on my faith. I was standing on the belief that I was going to be all right, doing all the necessary things. And not to say that I didn't have my crying moments going through breast cancer in 97, because nobody wants to hear that you have breast cancer or cancer of any kind.
No.
They always relate it to a death sentence. But I did not see myself dying through that. And I went to the gym, I worked out. I'm telling you, I am a workout junkie, exercise junkie, junkie.
Yes.
Sports, I played sports all of my life. I understand why God allowed me to have such a great love for sports, the competing, being a team member, the work that goes in to be a winner on the basketball court or the track field or whatever sport that I found myself getting involved in. I ended up understanding as I went through each challenge of my life why sports was such a key factor in my life. So in 1999, you know, after I got through the first time, I thought I was kicking it. I thought I was headed down the right road as far as not having to deal with that again. And boom, 2 years later, it was dormant for a year. I had been going to get my mammograms, and I tell people that getting your mammograms, your checkups every year is so vital, because if
Right.
you miss 1 year in between that first diagnosis, you probably wouldn't be talking to me today, because the cancer was caught early both times. And it's funny that even though cancer you would think would be the most difficult thing that you went through, 2010 was a kicker, because that came out of nowhere like a freight train hitting you unexpectedly, just kind of like nowhere. Because I go into the hospital for a simple surgery that was
a simple procedure, man.
Simple procedure. Well, I got surgery, but Keita, I think surgeries, we always say that it was a simple, but it actually was. But no surgery really is simple.
It's simple. No,
because you never know the unknowing what may happen. But you know, the funny thing about that whole experience in 2010 is that I went to work that day, had scheduled the surgery, made some changes as far as uterus tumors. I decided not to get a hysterectomy, because I'm like, why get a hysterectomy if I don't really have to?
Right.
That route. So I made the decision not to have the hysterectomy, even at the age of 49. And mind you, I want to say is that I was going to take my birthday present that I was given to myself that year to go to Greece. I had planned out the year around and everything. I had a niece.
Matter of fact, we were all supposed to go. We were all
supposed to go. All of us.
Yeah, we were planning it. We were going, and you were going to have the surgery, and we thought everything would be fine. And it was like one thing led to another, and it was like, what in the world? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what happened? And oh my goodness.
It's incredible, because, you know, when you go through something so life-changing, and being an athlete, and not just being an athlete, and already have gone through breast cancer twice. I thought I had taken my hit for the kingdom, and to come up in 2010 and go through something so unforeseeable that was devastating in so many ways, thinking that you were going to be in the hospital for 5 days, and you were in there for 2.5 months, surgery later, almost dying, and then you walk away with part of your leg, your limb gone. That would be enough to shake anybody's faith, to say, Lord, you know what? Where were you in the midst of this, knowing who I was as an individual, to have through all of that, you know, and lying there. If you would have had to be there to experience the whole thing, to understand the depths of what I went through, not only what I went through, what the family went through, the whole family went through, and some friends went through. I disappeared for 2.5 months. People didn't even know what happened to me, because it's not like me not to return phone calls.
Right.
But to the point where you don't even know if you're among the living. I mean, it went from almost getting out the hospital in 5 days, because they were ready to almost to release me, to the fact that everything started spiraling down. And it was such a horrible situation that I didn't even know I was among the living. And the part that I am so aware of is when they were trying to work the blood clot out of my arm that had went from my foot up to my arm. Both feet was getting ready to turn purple.
Turning purple, yeah.
Purple. I was about ready to lose both feet, both hands.
Yep.
To be that bad. And that wasn't even the worst part. Everything started just shutting down when they tried to work the blood clot out, and I literally stopped breathing. I kept telling the people, I can't breathe. They had a tent over me. They had the oxygen on me. And I kept grabbing the nurse to say, I really can't breathe. And I literally stopped breathing where I could look down and see them working on me. That's how dire it got. And then even worse, it got to the point, and the pain was unbearable. I can't imagine, I can't even begin to tell you how bad it was. But through it all, my mom was coming up there. She was trying to nurse me when she was sick. Like, everybody was out.
Listen. My family, we're a tribe as it is, because it's what, 8 siblings of you guys,
8.
And so
9.
she had at least 6 of those 8 and their families in the hospital. We took over the whole waiting room. Couldn't nobody come in there. We were sleeping there. We were there. We transferred hospitals. It was an experience. I just remember one day coming up to visit you because you had to stay a little longer. And we said, okay. And I was pregnant at the time. And we came to the hospital to visit. And we were talking and laughing. And then the next moment, they're like, well, you can't go back. You're pregnant. She has an infection. And then we got a transfer. It was like everything was boom, boom, boom. Like, even though it was a 2.5 month process, OMG, it just felt like everything was like back to back to back. But what I love most about you, and I always told you that, I always tell you, but what I love most about you is the fact that your competitiveness, you're a fighter, and like you were just not willing to give up. And it was like you fought the whole way through. You were consistently fighting. Like you were like, no, you're not going to take me down. I'm going to win this. And even coming out as the trooper after finding out that you've lost your leg and life is now going to be different, because that was one of the conversations that we had to have with the doctor. With my family, you don't go into the hospital and everybody's not. We discussed as a family. The doctor talks to everybody. And one of the things that we said was like, whatever you do, you have to give her the ability to still do sports. Like whatever he was like, well, if I take it at a certain point, she won't be able to do this again. And we were like, no, she can't have her life impacted like that. But I love how you were a trooper. You had your moments when you were down. But let me tell you how competitive, because I see the tears coming in her eyes, so I need to make her laugh a little bit. She's so competitive that when she went to the rehabilitation center, she's in there challenging the other people to help lift their spirits with coming up and doing their rehabilitative work. She's in there challenging people like, come on, you can do it. I can do it. Come on. And like, that's how she went back to her competitiveness that just helped to kind of bring her out and keep fighting. And I love that about you. But we can't even get stuck there, because no matter what happened, you still found a way to spin that thing to be a blessing to other people. So you went from having breast cancer to starting a foundation to help people with breast cancer. Like, the organization is ran strictly by volunteers. All of the money goes back to the community after, the overhead administrative fees, but nobody gets paid to do this. And nobody. She started a foundation to raise money for men and women who have been diagnosed with breast cancer, can't afford treatments. We've done what with the foundation? We've paid for
rent, utilities, childcare. Yeah, people who even passed away. We had one, and I like the story because it tells even more so what we cover, because we cover everything they need, meaning that whatever your everyday living expense would be, we tackle that, childcare and all that. But one person, we had approved their application and they died before we were able to pay that bill that we had approved. And we
gave money towards their services.
Their funeral service, because whatever we were going to pay for that bill, we gave it to a family to help with the funeral expenses, their service. So when I say that we meet the immediate needs, we do just that. And one year we decided to reach back out into the community, and we're 20 years this year. And we decided to reach back out, well, maybe 21 years this year, but we decided to reach back out in the community one year during Christmas time just to let people know that we hadn't forgotten them. These were some of the people that we had helped before. But many times when people have foundations or anything that they're dealing with, sometimes they never get to touch or meet the actual person who is the founder and the CEO of the foundation or the organization. And we decided that we wanted to go and knock on people's doors just to take a $50 gift card and a bag like tea and a little inspirational book. And now I understand even more so why I do what I do with the foundation and why all the other people who are part of the foundation is because when I went to those people's homes and knocked on the door and they were able to meet me and they were happy about that, to just say thank you for helping us during a crucial time. And one lady said that, you know, she had reached out to other organizations, nothing against them, but I want to, you know, that's the reason why I don't want to go national, because it's such a great need and it's limited resources in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. So I want to keep it local. And my motto, Keita, is impacting the world for good, making a difference in the world. And that's what we're all here really about, is to really bring somebody up or speak life into somebody else's that's going through a tough situation. So when we knocked on that door and the people said, you know what, you helped me at the most crucial time when I didn't have money in my pocket, didn't know what I was going to do. And when I walked out of one of those houses, and this is where I'll probably cry, because it really spoke to why God gave me what he gave me, and what I went through wasn't for just anything, but it was to help change lives and make a difference in people's lives. So when I walked out of one of the homes that day and I was speaking to God, I was saying, you know, this is what is all about, is what you just heard from these individuals, of how at a dire time in their life that your foundation came through and help them not to be put out of their homes, or help them to have food on their table, or help them pay a utility bill and all of those things. And it's not that we make a whole bunch of money through the foundation.
No.
Everything that we make goes right back into the community. Almost like 90%, except the fees that we have for just the things that we have to keep.
The services, the overhead services.
Yeah, the overhead, but the majority of the money goes directly back into the community. So that is why I do what I do. That's why I work many jobs and really dive into the foundation, because I tell people that everything I do trickles back down to the foundation. And, you know, I was saying that in the hospital that we sometimes wonder why we have to go through such dire times, and that we can't kind of keep getting hit over and over with.
Right.
And sometimes, like I said, that it's not about you, but it's about the people who are looking on. I believe that what I went through has brought the family together, that what I went through showed people that were watching that they too can get through difficult times.
Yeah.
Attitude is such an important key. Your attitude starts everything in how you can propel yourself forward throughout difficult times. And I tell people that you didn't go through things for just nothing. God is not going to allow you to go through things for just nothing.
Right.
It's why you went through what you went through, and God intended for you to come through that. And I never would have started the foundation if I hadn't went through breast cancer and saw the need that was so great. The Amplitude community, and what I really help out now also, is that, you know, God has blessed me to be a voice in helping people to get through challenging time. I mean, I never would have wrote a book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory.
Yeah, you wrote a book.
I went through what I did, because God was putting purpose into what I went through. He saw on down the line what this was going to turn into. And basically, you know, I'm about just helping people that they can get through the most difficult times with the right attitude. Because I tell people, what would have a purpose me to have gone through all of that? The first victory was just living and getting out of the hospital and being able to be back out among the people. But the most devastating situation in that, Keita, is that the emotional is harder than the physical. because the emotional just bangs at you and everything to say. You know, I looked in the mirror every time I went through past the mirror. I saw my leg gone and I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't. I mean, I had to literally love myself beyond that, because it's not about, see, the body is going to change anyway. I mean,
yes,
we're once young, we go through stages, we're going to be older. But the thing about it is, I told someone, it's not the person on the outside that I want people to know. It's who Donna is in the inside is who I want people to get to.
Yeah.
That is the person that is the fighter. That is the person that wants everyone to win throughout whatever situation that they may find themselves. People may say, girl, you seem like you had an easy time. It was nothing easy about what I went through.
No.
Today, I told people the way I got through this is I took one day at a time. If it was 1 minute at a time that I needed to take in getting through that, that's what I needed. So to get to the other side of whatever you went through, you got to go through the process of taking your time to heal emotionally, physical, and even spiritually, because people think just because you saved, just because you're in church, just because you've been serving God for all of your life, that you're supposed to have an attitude to say, hey, you know what? God saved me from this. But you got to deal with the realness of what you went through. You got to deal with being mad about the fact that who wants to lose?
And you know what? And I was getting ready to say that. I think it's so important that, don't get me wrong, like you said, we have faith and we believe, but I always say sometimes I have to take a beat and deal with how I feel so that it doesn't continue to fester and cause me issues later on. You know, I even realized, I would say as far back as a week ago, maybe, I realized that I was still hurt and still kind of not mad at God, but I was mad at him then that I didn't confront, right? Because of something that happened in my life. But I realized that I hadn't really dealt with that until recently. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, God, you know, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I was still mad about this. And so I'm like, let me deal with this so that I can move on. I tell people that all the time, like, just because, you know, you have a relationship with God doesn't mean that you're not going to be disappointed. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have days when you're down. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be perfect with your emotions. Sometimes you just have to stop and deal with that thing. Find the root of it so you can deal with that, and then you'll be able to begin to heal and move forward.
Yeah, you're so key on that, because the thing about it is, when I got out of the hospital, it was just about getting back to walking and being able to walk again, getting out that wheelchair. Because I told people I'm not going to be in this wheelchair long.
Right. And you weren't.
God gave me sports again because I got involved in rowing. I can't even swim, and I got involved in rowing.
This girl went as far as to, and I wanted to touch on this earlier when you said this, when you were like, things that you wouldn't have done had you not gone through what you went through. She went to the Olympics, y'all. She tried out for the Olympics. Now, granted, it was what was it?
It was the Rio. Right? Yeah, there was a Paralympic. I was trying to make it in rowing because somebody said, oh, my physical therapist, she said, I think you'd be good in rowing. Well, you know, I was going to just test it out. I wasn't for sure if I was going to do it, but you can believe if I was trying it, I was going to do it.
I was going to do it.
It was so political in rowing, but it was good. Rowing was what I needed at that time because it was something that I had never done before, because wheelchair basketball was frustrating me because I had played basketball in college. I had ran track in college. So those things was things that I knew, and they frustrated me because they reminded me of the fact that it wasn't the same as before. So I got into rowing, totally new. And the coach must have saw in me something too, because trust me,
you did the doggone thing.
I put sunglasses on because I'd be fussing behind. I'd be like, whatever. Do you know anybody's name? But the thing about it is, I wanted to not lose this thought is that the first year was just about getting out of the wheelchair and getting back up walking. And then it was about getting back into my routine. And then I told myself after about 3 years is, did you really take the time to really deal with process went through? And because I ended up being kind of like angry when I was writing my book. And when I got to that chapter about the process, going through the process in those 3 stages, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, I really found out, because I told myself, because I'm a happy-go-lucky person,
You are.
like gloom and doom, but writing the book helped me to be focused on healing myself. I tell people, how can you tell somebody else to get to the other side of victory when you haven't gotten there yourself and went through the process of getting there? So I had to do some real searching because I was mad about some things in life. I had to learn how to love myself and really look to myself, because I used to run past the mirror because I see one leg half gone and what.
Right.
And I had to deal with that realness that it wasn't going to come back. And then why didn't God step in sooner to save the leg, which he did not? And he just said, Donna, guess what? I saved your life. And the thing about it is we've got to get past just the outside person, but look within the inside. And the healing came when I really took the time for a whole year to just deal with Donna. I told someone that I was going to be selfish. Sometimes we're not selfish enough with dealing with ourselves because we're so busy giving. People are pulling on us that we have to step back so that we don't die in the process of helping people so that we kill ourselves. So I had to heal myself where I truly healed myself with being for real. Most time people go to church and they don't tell the truth.
They don't say you right. They don't.
And they pretend like everything is all right. They want to ever. Not me. My emotions is worn on my sleeve, as they say. I don't even hide anything. And not only that, I kind of changed my attitude per se pertaining to the church also, because I told God, it's about me and you. It's about what you want me to do in service for you and not what somebody else wants me to do. It's about my relationship and what you have spoken into my life and what you want me to do to make a difference in ministering to people outside of the walls of the church. There's enough people in the walls of the church, but it's a lot of people that needs to be ministered outside, where God, almost like Jesus walked among the people outside.
Right.
But I really changed my attitude about church and how I see people. And you know how sometimes we walk past people and then we don't pay them any attention.
Right.
I told God, I said, you know what? I changed. I'm looking at life and seeing life totally different. I don't waste time. I don't have time to waste. I live my life as though it's going to be my last day every day. So I just think that we really need to assess ourselves of checking ourselves, of where we stand spiritually in realness, because God already know what we're thinking anyway.
Right.
Come to him, really, I was like, Lord, you know what? And the thing about it is he's given me, I like to laugh and joke and whatever. And tell you some things that I went through with, being an amputee that most people wouldn't laugh about. I
was getting ready to say you
find joy in some of the things that you went through.
Exactly. We laugh all the time. When I say she come up with the craziest things and try to do the most craziest things sometimes, and it's like all we can do is sit and laugh at her. Like I love that because we're able to find the humor we find humor in just about everything. Like we find the way to laugh.
Where some people wouldn't find humor. But I think the key thing, Keita, that people got to realize, you have to have the right people in your life speaking life back into your situation. You first have to speak it back in. You first believe, because it's not enough for you to believe that I was going to be healed, that I was going to come through this, or that my life was going to proceed on past that. If I didn't believe these things in my own spirit, that God could make a way out of no way, that he would bring me through, and that I would be better than what I was before. Because I can truly say, and many people may not be able to say that I am a better person now because what I went through.
Yeah.
That's hard pill to say, because most
it is.
How in the world can you be a better person now? Gone through breast cancer twice, to go through the unforeseeable 2010 with a limb gone, you being an athlete, you being as active a person as you possibly can. But my attitude and my the way that I see life and the way that I live life never probably would have saw that. I just can, and just the passion that, and not that I didn't have the passion for helping people before, but I truly am a fighter for those people who people just step over, or that they think that they don't matter. I want to make a difference in the community where people think that suicide is the way out. Young people think that suicide that because of what they went through, they think that is no way to get past that. I'm a living example that no matter what you go through in life, you can get to the other side of what you went through. You've got to just take your time in the process of getting there, and you gotta have, again and again, the right people in your corner.
Yes.
Life, and won't let you wallow in the fact of what you went through. I told people, don't let that be the anchor from keeping you from coming up again.
Yeah.
Most people would have thrown the cover over their head, and they would have been saying,
and they would just been stuck. They would have been stuck. But you're right. It is important to have people in your corner that say, okay, I understand. We get it. It was hard. Okay.
And you ain't gonna let me have a pity party.
Right. But, and then it's like, and now let's get up. Let's keep moving. Now it's time for you to get up. Let's go.
I told people, cry for a little while. I told God, let me feel what I feel, but let me not be stuck there in crying.
Yep.
That I don't create a new river in life because I cried so much.
Yes, yes. It is okay to shed some tears. I talk about this all the time. Sometimes you just have to have them cleansing moments. What did I say? You face what you're dealing with. You have that moment where you cry, you cleanse, and then you shake it off and you're like, all right, let's go. It's time to rock. You know what I mean? We
don't have time to waste. We don't have time to waste in this life.
The one thing we can never get back is time, and how we spend our time. We can never get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So you got to make the most of what you have. And I tell you, this girl right here, look, stitches is how much we laugh. We laugh a lot, a lot. We laugh a lot. But laughter is so good for the soul and so healing. I'm telling you, if you haven't done it in a while, do it. Find something to get you a real good laugh in. Laughter is
telling you, it'll make you, I mean, that's the reason why I surround myself with people who enjoy life, who are not complainers, who don't, that no Debbie Downers. You can't go on vacation with me because I go by myself before I let you go. But you got to be able to laugh through some things that you went through. If you're not able to laugh, then your soul is going to be dark. If you're not able to heal yourself completely, it's almost like putting a Band-Aid over a wound where you didn't allow it to heal completely. You have to allow it to heal. And not that I don't even have those days now that that's not challenging, that sometimes I get frustrated if I walk a long ways and I was like, oh, my leg is hurting, I got off sweat. That frustrates me. That's the winner and the competitor that's in me. But I never allow that to stop me. Don't allow anything to stop you in life from moving past what you've been. I can't iterate that enough, is not getting stuck in what you went through. And like, you know what, one thing that I went through, and I think this changed everything, is that I got out of the hospital and I decided to go to see a movie. And I don't know why I went to see this sad movie that the lady, I think, had cancer. And so I went to the movie, and when I came out and I had my prosthetic leg, and this little girl was coming across the street and she was like pointing at me and like that. And I was still a little emotional behind it. And then she was like pointing, and then I got to my car and bust out crying. And then I started laughing after I shedded all those tears, because I said, I don't know, brother, you crying about the girl pointing at you or that sad movie that you went to see. But then God gave me another situation that I was over at the military base, and I was going to the gym, and I was feeling a little down that day. And I was at a stop sign. This person went across who was an amputee, both legs gone, up above. I mean, it was like a wobble, and he had no arms. And he was on one of those little remote carts, you know, the carts that used to push around with paper in the office, where it was remote. So that wasn't by chance that God allowed me to see that. But ever since I saw that, I said, shut up, Donna. You will not complain again about anything because you can walk. He probably wished that he still could walk and had his hand. So, you know, they always say that somebody is worse off to you, but that's not enough until God really drives it home where he can show it to you, where it gets into your spirit and you receive it in your spirit. And since that day, I don't complain. I mean, it is what it is. And the thing about it is the fact that I'm still alive, I'm still able to do everything. And the fact that my assignment wasn't over yet. So I couldn't die. I wasn't going anywhere anyway. I may have come out different with, I'll call them my battle wound, Keita.
Your battle wounds.
Battle wounds on this body. But the fact of it is, it's a reminder of what I went through, but even more important, what I came through. So every time I look at those battle wounds, I just see the fact that God saved me yet again from something that could have ended up killing me.
There you have it. Well, Auntie Donna, first of all, I'm so grateful that you joined me tonight. And I hope that our guest in the Sip and Chat room enjoyed our conversation tonight and got something very good to apply to their lives. You and your mug. See, this is what I'm saying. You over there pointing at the, come on now. But anyway, so I thank you so much for joining me.
I definitely hope that if it wasn't nothing but something that I had said that will speak life back into whatever you may be facing in life, maybe not even right now, Keita, that they're facing it, but on down the line, it may be something that they have to go back and pull from what we talked about tonight. And that's what it's all about, is impacting the world for good and, you know, making a difference in people's lives. That's the key thing that I want to do in life.
But that's what we here for. We game changers. We're here to make positive impacts on people's lives. But I thank you, honey, for joining me. You done called my family name like 30 million times tonight. People like, that is not what the screens say, but that's okay. Cause
Lynn Tate. I mean, but she was calling me Donna, but I had to go personal with her. But
I said Donna one time, right?
She said Donna one time, but I called her Keita. That's what I called her because she's family. But you know her by Lynn Tate.
But I love you. I thank you for joining me. Cheers, boo. So I hope you enjoyed us tonight. We certainly enjoyed encouraging you. Remember, look, I ain't tell y'all nowhere to check us out, but remember to check out my blog at recognizingtherealme.com. And if you haven't already done so, you done heard her drop it a few times tonight. Make sure you go check out Donna's book. Look, I'm about to say Donna's book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory. It's a phenomenal book. It really lays out her story. It's encouraging. Make sure you check her out. And check out Hopkins Breast Cancer Inc. We are always looking for people to come along, to volunteer, make donations, and help us to continue to make a phenomenal impact in the community and in the lives of those that are in need with breast cancer. With that being said, we've gone over our time, but that's okay. We noticed y'all hung in there with us, so y'all needed that good stuff. But we thank you. We love you. And we will check you out. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody said give the contact information. Be more specific, sir. It's like just joking. Donna, tell people how they can reach you.
You can go to my website, donnajhopkins.com. That's my website for my book. You can also go to our website for the breast cancer at www.hopkinsbcinc.org. And you can catch up, you can contact me either way of that, and Facebook and all of those things, you know, social media, but it's all on those two platforms that I gave you. So please go to those, and if you can help with us with the foundation by donating, I'd love for you to do that. And like Keita said, please go to the purchase the book if you have not, because I believe it's a book that's going to be able to help anybody that's going through anything in life. You don't have to go through what I went through, but I believe that it will be one that will change your life for good.
Absolutely. Anyway, love you, darling. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to tune in next week to Sip and Chat. I have another amazing guest that I'm so excited to have her join me in the room. And anyway, have a blessed and wonderful week. We love you. Be safe and be well. Have a great week, guys. Oh, wait, a great weekend. Rest of the week. You know what I mean. It's Thursday. I'm going to catch up. All right. Love y'all.